freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Hey everybody, Cheryl and Dan Todd here, coming to you from Gun Freedom Radio at the 2026 SHOT Show in
fabulous Las Vegas.
And we are so excited to have caught up with our good friend and fellow Arizonan, now that you've moved there, Devin Perkins.
How are you guys?
Amazing. We love this show because we get to connect with people. Even though we live in the same town, our schedules are nuts.
Oh, it's crazy.
And so it's easier to connect at an event like this sometimes. But we get to talk to people from all over the nation doing amazing work. And among the things that Devin does is he is the founder of a group called Kids to Kings. He's the in-house marketing director of X-Tech Tactical. He is a host, and he writes for Recoil magazine. He's even on the cover of January?
Yeah, it's kind of wonky how we do it, but yes, it's from December into January, but we shot it in November. It's wild.
On the cover, holding one of those big, scary black AR-15
actually
guns.
an FDE, so it's not the big.
Okay, all right, that's true. That's true. That's less scary, right? The AR-15 platform. And this I really love because our mutual friend, who I think maybe introduced us originally, Maj Toure of Black Guns Matter. Devin likes to say he's the very first ever solutionary.
Yeah.
I love that.
I call myself the general of the solutionaries.
The general of the solutionaries.
Devin, tell us what this Kids to Kings is.
It's honestly, it's the solution that the Second Amendment needed. All the time we would hear, I'll speak about it from multiple perspectives. So from the Second Amendment fight, all we hear about from the opposition is suicide, homicide, right? We always have an answer for the suicide, mental health, resources, all of that. We really don't have anything for the homicide side other than more legislation. More legislation usually leads to more gun laws. It's not the case. Education is always the answer, no matter what it is. So let me backtrack. When I got connected with Mike Sedini, first time I interviewed him, we spoke about him and what Walk the Talk America was doing as far as being the first non-compromising Second Amendment organization to address mental health. So I asked him, I said, are you going to do anything as far as like the homicide side? And he was like, yes, but like I don't really have a path or a plan to do that. And I was like, all right, well, if we know where the concentrated statistics of homicides are, we can just go straight there. And this is where the influence from Maj comes into play because he started Black Guns Matter going to all the areas that nobody else wanted to go to.
Yes.
So I was like, all right, well, if you're addressing the adults, I can address the kids. And I literally started the program being Maj's like opening act to Black Guns Matter classes. So when COVID hit, we went on the tour, and I was doing Kids to Kings presentations, and then he would start the Black Guns Matter classes. So it's literally just me standing on the shoulders of the giants that have propped me up in this industry and just making sure I make them proud.
Awesome.
I love that so much, and I want to dig into exactly what the program is, but the fact that here's this collaborative effort between you and Maj, and sometimes in this world of advocacy, these organizations kind of, I call it sibling rivalry. They kind of rub up against each other a little bit and compete, sometimes not in healthy ways, other times in very good ways, right?
Oh, yeah.
Trying to, one-up each other. But you and Maj, hearing that story, that is a beautiful representation of how it should work.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had a lot of support because, I mean, honestly, it's really hard to battle what Kids to Kings does from the optics perspective, because we start with mental health. So all the kids have to go through a class in basically workshops to make sure that their mental state is correct.
Okay.
And all it is emotional intelligence and emotional awareness, along with making sure that their impulse control. That's my biggest focus, is impulse control. I tell them all the time, if you can control your impulse, you'll be the richest man in the world.
I love that.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, we just make sure they're completely self-sufficient human beings. Even the guy that you guys just had on, Patrick,
Yes.
he lets us use his trailer as a classroom on the range.
Patrick
So,
Collins of thegunfood.com.
Yeah.
And again, there's
he's donated ammo to us. Kevin Dixie, we use his range in Georgia. So I'm literally just standing up the program with all of my mentors and everybody that poured into me. And that's kind of what I'm trying to give back, is that, like, all of these grown men, Maj, KD, Jake Wiskerson, there's so many different men that I could point to that have just poured into me. So I was like, all right, if I can see the residuals and the results at my later age, what happens if I do this for kids that are 10, 11, 12 years old? So it's a lot of coal pressing to the diamond, and we are the pressure that is going to get them to that. Because with the kids that we deal with, I'll be honest, a lot of adults are scared of them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they come from the same environments that we come from, so we know what they're dealing with, and what better way to fix the issues that they're having by just alleviating them altogether. So
It is so beautiful. And so you kind of make sure that they're mentally okay. They've got their impulse control under control. And then what is the program? What are you doing with these kids?
everything from hiking to workout Wednesdays. We're creating a new behavioral report card that teachers and parents are going to have to sign off for the kids to get their rewards at the end of the month. It's a lot going on, but mainly the biggest thing is firearms training. We have a basic instructor that gets all the new kids, gets them acclimated to the guns, everything. We use SIRT pistols first in the classroom. Once they've proven themselves in that classroom, then they get to actually be on the range, and that's where Kevin Dixie and my other guy, Sparks, comes into play. There are instructors, and essentially they're gearing them up now to become competitive shooters. And a huge shout out to Ruger, because Ruger stepped up last year and became the title sponsor, which obviously created a domino effect of everybody else wanting to get involved.
Oh, I like it. There's always got to be the first guy,
always got to be, and they stepped up huge. They sent us, I have more RXMs than anybody else in this country, I promise you. We have at least 11.
Wow.
And the kids love them, A lot of people just, they don't really understand that these kids develop a different type of resilience.
Yes.
And when they get to decompress, and then you get to pour into them as a sponge, their trajectory is through the roof. You know what I mean? And
yes.
Like you guys have seen, I've been able to maneuver and work my way and scale up in this industry. So I'm like, same logic. If they're 10, 11 years old, getting into competitive shooting now, where will they be in 10 years in this industry? They'll be running SHOT Show, hopefully. So seriously,
and what I love is that I know from my own personal experience, growing up with a single dad and 3 brothers, and there was never any mystery about guns. My dad taught us what they were for and what they were not for, took all of the curiosity out of it, and then took us out on the range, took my brothers hunting. I was always at the campsite, whatever. It was a different era. But anyhow,
what did you do, the cooking?
I did the cooking. I did. But I'm a pretty good cook now because of it. So, but it taught us things beyond, the 5 basics of treat a gun as though it's always loaded. It taught us responsibility. It taught us follow through. It taught us to understand that there are natural consequences for our behavior.
For sure.
And this is what you're offering to generations now.
Yeah.
Because you've been doing this long enough that you've got probably kids that they maybe are ready to instruct other kids.
Yeah, they're getting there. They're definitely getting there. Funny enough, we had them at the NRA show, the last NRA show in Atlanta, since it was their home backyard. We brought them, and the number one compliment that they got was the way that they handled the firearms at the booth. Like, you could see the person's like perception change real time. Like, who are these little black kids coming up to my booth? Oh, they've just cleared a gun because they know how to clear a gun. They're not aiming at anybody else. And then by the time we get to there, they're, oh, well, here, go ahead and look at this one. I was like, yeah.
Awesome.
And by the way, in a
Everything
couple
changes.
years when you're 15, come maybe see us about a job, right?
Yeah, so, more than anything, we're introducing them to the industry and letting them understand, like, you want to be a professional? You can be a professional athlete at 15. All you got to do is be a GM in competition shooting, and you'll have sponsors, you'll be traveling all over the country.
Gosh.
It's just opening up their minds to other avenues in life that aren't just sports, entertainment, degeneracy. You know what I mean?
You're changing the trajectory of lives. You are saving lives because the mere presence of a trained person, right, that also may or may not have the tools of self-protection on them, that posture you can feel in a room.
Yeah.
And that exact energy that goes out there saves lives that we'll never even know about. And look at how you are instilling this in these young men, that they're going to be just fine husbands and fine dads, and you are such a part of that. And giving them opportunities that maybe they would not have even thought possible. I love that.
It's given me crazy opportunities. Ashley, come here.
Oh, we got
I
to
need
dive
you to
in
interrupt
here.
this.
We got to dive
Because
in here.
This young lady,
Ashley Levinsky.
Hello.
this is my favorite person in the gun industry, right? She was the first. I didn't go to college, but I got to teach. I got to teach at a college because she decided to invite me to the Firearms Research Center 2 years ago. So Kids to Kings has now gotten into colleges because of her. So
More collaboration. This is amazing. And so Ashley, you guys will recognize her. She's been on the show several times while we were here at SHOT Show, the most recently. But we're talking about how amazing it is when groups collaborate instead of compete.
100%. Yeah, you don't get that all the time, but it's pretty nice.
So what?
Oh, yeah, right. Microphones.
Yes. Oh, yes, microphones. So just quickly, how did that come about? How did you guys meet each other? And
Did we meet each other?
who introduced me?
I
to
don't know.
you?
Was it Mike?
because you also work with
yeah,
Walk the Talk America and Michael
we were doing
Sodini.
interviews.
Way before then, yeah.
Yeah.
At NRA, the first NRA I went to in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I just reached out to you.
I think you did,
Yeah.
or you just like yelled at me in an aisle or something. I think you're right. I don't think we got connected via anybody. So yeah, you probably just either DM'd me, slid into my DMs in the most professional way possible. But yeah, and then we did an interview. You're right. It was at NRA. We were standing in my husband's booth.
Yep.
At the time, yeah.
I love this. This is fantastic. And this right here, this is SHOT Show, right? This is the firearms community. And so it's always weird to me when people want to paint us in a negative light, because I'm like, we are the nicest
Oh no, this
people.
is the secret weapon of the Second Amendment, right here.
Oh, thank you.
The
I
historian.
just made a real weird smile for the camera. I don't know what to do with my hands.
This is fantastic. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Miss Ashley. We just love you so much. Thank
All
you.
right, thanks, guys. Good seeing y'all again.
She's going to exit stage right. There she goes.
But
That
yeah.
was amazing.
Yeah, we honestly, I think my collective circle, we are the answer to every problem that the Second Amendment has, from training, Kevin Dixie, outreach and philanthropy, Mike Sodini, as provocative as you ever want to be with Maj in politics.
Right? Seriously. He is a
whatever he doesn't get, I'll
pot
clean it up.
stirrer.
Yeah.
We'll call it a pot stirrer,
Yes,
right?
yes, for sure. And what I've noticed is, like, this is something that Kevin Dixie told me. He said, you don't have to recreate the wheel, just put rims on it. So with everybody expanding and scaling into their different avenues, my job basically was to be able to keep everybody as a core. And the way that I did that was everybody pours into Kids the King, so we have to be connected. You know what I mean?
And I know you said that Ruger stepped up and you've got some other big sponsors, but
Arms Corps and Aguila, I definitely have to give them a shout out. They are huge supporters of, even the NRA, as much flack as they've gotten over the years, I've had other organizations completely ignore Kids the Kings because they wanted the sugar-coated version of what it was, not understanding that, you got to get dirty with some of this work. And the NRA rolled out the red carpet for the boys. I mean, VIP dinners, anything that they wanted. They gave them gifts every single day. So
that's amazing.
Most
I
people
love hearing that.
Won't shout them out. I'll give them the shout out because they did everything they wanted for the boys. Other organizations decided not to. So
I love hearing that. And the other part of this, though, is we need people like you and me, right? The viewers out there, supporting programs like this, because we can say all day long, somebody ought to do something. And the oughta usually is, as you said, somebody trying to pass another law.
Yeah.
That is not going to help these kids, right? But if we really help out, I know you've got a link somewhere that we can, instead of buying the next Starbucks, we're going to toss some money your way.
Well, one of two. You can go to walkthetalkamerica.org, take your free anonymous mental health screening. While you're there, scroll down to the resource section, hit the Kids the Kings link, and you can see all the information that we have on there. Like I said, we do everything from classroom pop-ups. We do home visits now. Like, we're basically the third-party parent. Yeah. And what's really interesting is that all of my counselors are single 20-something-year-old men that don't have kids of their own, decided to pour in. And what I've noticed is that it's given them a sense of purpose as well. So the next phase is Kevin Dixie and I trying to figure out how we can pour into them to make sure that they're still pouring into the kids. And then last is that we're expanding to St. Louis in the next year because we got a new contract with a school out there that has about 40 boys in their program, and we have full access. So that's the next step, is expanding to different locations in the country.
Devin, I think it's great. The parents aren't doing enough, and so we need outside help.
Yeah,
and
sure.
It's awesome that you're doing that.
Thank you.
That's tremendous. And I know we need to wrap up, but it reminds me of when I was growing up, there was something called Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Mm-hmm. And but this feels like almost like Big Brother, Big Sister, a little boot camp element of it, right?
Yeah. Moms are not allowed on our initial field trip to the mountain.
Wait, no dance moms.
So the first thing that they have to do is climb Stone Mountain, because Stone Mountain is where the Ku Klux Klan used to have their annual meetings, right? So we take all of our boys up there, we teach them the importance, and then we're like, yo, this is also why you need a gun.
Yeah.
So everything is a teaching moment for them. Everything.
That is incredible. I did not know that about Stone Mountain, so you gave me some history just then. And it's like, a group like that, they were specifically involved in writing laws that disenfranchised a specific group of people. And now those exact same tactics are being used for the rest of everybody. So if we can't understand that and not adopt any of these silly, red flag laws or any of these things that sound like they sound good, but they actually do bad, I love that you are helping instill those kinds of historical lessons in the next generation.
Maj and KD being my biggest influences, you got to be able to be a historian in some fashion with those two.
They're amazing. You're amazing. Thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you.
And for taking the time. I know you've got a blast and go do an interview with somebody where you're the interviewer. You're probably already late.
I am. It's all good.
Tell folks one more time how they can follow the work you're doing. Walk the Talk America.
WalkTheTalkAmerica.org/love. Recoil TV on YouTube. XTechTactical.com. We sell the best magazines in the country, so go check those out. I'm everywhere. If there's a gun event, you're probably going to see me interviewing or being interviewed at the same time.
Fantastic. Again, thank you so much. Hey, everybody, stick around. We've got tons more coming at you from the 2026 SHOT Show.